If you watch this lesson, you will learn how to use the first conditional. Just like that. Welcome. Today I'm going to talk to you about the first conditional. Oh, okay. Whoa. You can save your applause for later. First, I want to remind you to join our social media classes right there, because it's just another great way to continue practicing your English skills. Okay, now on to business. So conditional sentences are if statements, and they're made up of two parts. The first part is the condition, and the second part is the result. So let's look at the first sentence that I said to you. If you watch this lesson, you will learn how to use the first conditional. So the condition is also known as the if clause. It has a subject and it has a verb, but it is not a complete sentence if you watch this lesson. We need a main clause in order to complete the sentence, and that is our result. You will learn how to use the first conditional. Now the result also has a subject and a verb, and it is also a complete sentence. And we put those together, and then we have our if statement. If you watch this lesson, you will learn how to use the first conditional. See, you're learning already. Now, we use the first conditional to talk about real or possible situations that are likely going to happen. So here's another example of a sentence in the first conditional. If you study with us, you will learn English. So we have the condition, if you study with us, that is the possible situation, followed by the result, you will learn English. That's the likely outcome, and I think it's true. If you study with us, you will learn English. Now, keep in mind that in the result, the subject will sometimes get contracted with the helping verb will. So then we would have, if you study with us, you'll learn English. Also, be mindful of the punctuation, because if the condition comes before the result, then we need a comma to separate the two clauses. If you study with us, comma, you'll learn English. Now, if we switch those around and the result comes before the condition, then we don't need a comma. You'll learn English if you study with us. Now, I'm gonna get all grammatical, I'm just making stuff up, but we're gonna look at the grammar. So, in the condition, which is our if clause, we are going to use the present simple. And with the result, the main clause, it is going to be in the future tense. This is a rule. Make sure you follow it. The if clause is in the present simple, the main clause is your future. I also think that we use will most of the time when we're talking about our result in the future. Now, you can use be going to, that's perfectly fine. I just don't think it's as common. If you study with us, you're going to learn English. But I think it's more common for people to use will because you're talking about a likely outcome in the future. Let's look at a couple of other examples using the first conditional. If you win the match, I'll give you $10. So here our condition, if you win the match, is the possible situation, and our result, I'll give you $10, is a possible future outcome. I'll stop by the grocery store and grab some food if there's time. Now, did you notice the punctuation in this sentence? The result, which is the main clause, comes before the condition, which is our if clause. So again, when the result comes before the condition, there is no comma. If it rains tomorrow, then we'll stay inside. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to go out in that. So as you can see, there are many different uses for the first conditional, and it is so important because we use it all the time. So let's look at a few more examples of the first conditional being used in different situations.
If it takes forever, then I'll walk forever. If it takes forever, then I'll walk forever.
If you stop, I'll autograph those! If you stop, I'll autograph those!
I'll go if you go. I'll go if you go.
You'll get hurt if we don't find him. You'll get hurt if we don't find him.
Eddie, if he drinks the water out of there, the tree's gonna dry up. Eddie, if he drinks the water out of there, the tree's gonna dry up.
He'll die if he stays here. He'll die if he stays here.
Now, let's practice using the first conditional. So I'm going to show you a picture and I want you to think of a sentence describing this picture using the first conditional. I'll give you a few moments and then I will tell you some of the sentences that I came up with to describe this picture. Now, if you really want to go the extra mile, you can write your sentence in the comments and then you get to practice writing the first conditional. All right, here's the picture. Okay, so here are some of the sentences that I came up with. If the bus is not on time, she'll be late for school. Or maybe you said, if the bus is not on time, she'll be late for work. We could also say, if the bus is not on time, she'll be late for her date. We could also say, if the bus doesn't show up, she'll have to walk. Or, if she takes the bus, she'll arrive on time. Or maybe you thought of this sentence. If she looks the other way, she'll see the bus. Perhaps you thought of another sentence, and that's perfectly fine. But let's do the activity again. I'm going to show you another picture, and this time I do want you to write your sentence in the comments and practice using the first conditional. If you need some examples, we just did that other activity. You can go back and check out how I wrote those sentences. So I'm going to show you a different picture and I want you to write your sentence using the first conditional and write them in the comments and I'm going to check them. If you need additional time to think of a sentence and write it, just pause the video. Now, before I show you the picture, please give this video a thumbs up if you feel like you've learned something new or enjoy practicing the first conditional with us. Also, once this video ends and you write your sentence, maybe you should go on and watch another lesson or 2 or 3 or 4. So, are you ready to write the first conditional? Here's the picture.